Summer lotion bars. I love to make my lotion bars in the circular shape using silicone molds, which I'll show you in a minute, but you can also make them in these little, I like to call this an oversized lip balm tube, but it's a great option because you can twist it up, you can keep it in your bag, super easy. But here's the fun thing. Lotion bars can easily be made with just a few butters, oil, and beeswax. But what we're going to do is infuse those butters and oils with some summer herbs first. Actually, these are beautiful botanicals, roses, lavender, and calendula. And yes, you did hear that right. We are going to use calendula again, and that is because calendula is just the perfect herb for all manner of skin trouble. And you know what? Calendula is also reasonably priced. It's fairly inexpensive and easy to find. So let's get right to it. To make these summer lotion bars, you will need beeswax. I love to buy it in these little pastilles because it's so easy to weigh and measure. You'll also need some cocoa butter, which is great in these wafers. Coconut oil, which is wonderful for moisturizing the skin. A small amount of avocado oil, dried calendula petals, dried rose petals, and dried lavender buds. Please see your recipe card for the exact amounts. This recipe can be easily adapted to making more or less. If you'd like to try some other herbs besides these, you could try dandelion flowers, plantain, sunflower petals, or chamomile. I just wanted to take a minute to share a possible alternative to cocoa butter with you, and that is Kokum Butter. And you can see it here on this plate. It's hard and it is a little more flaky than cocoa butter, but it's a great substitute because it is very similar in firmness and hardness. And the cool thing about it is that it has little to no scent. So if you're really not a fan of cocoa butter and that chocolate smell, then you may want to try substituting with Kokum Butter. You'll also need some tools to help you infuse the herbs into the oil. When I do that, I generally use a canning jar or a heavy-duty glass measuring cup with a spout, like this Pyrex glass measuring cup I'm showing you here. And you'll just pop that in the pot and then put water in the base of your pot till it comes up the side about an inch or two. And if you want to use the oven method, which I'll explain, all you'll need is a glass loaf pan. To strain the herbs out of the infused oil, you'll need a bowl with a fine mesh sieve lined with some cheesecloth. And lastly, you'll need some type of mold to form your lotion bars. Now you can get something fun like these individual silicone molds. This one says 100% handmade, but you can get them with all kinds of beautiful designs and images. You can also get tray-like silicone molds, which sometimes they're listed as candy molds. They're very squishy and bendy, so you'll need to put it on a cookie sheet before you fill them with the hot oil. You can also use metal candy molds or just regular old muffin tins. One other option would be to use a lotion bar tube, which is basically like an oversized lip balm. This holds about ½ an ounce and is another great portable option. To start making our lotion bars, we will need to infuse the coconut oil, cocoa butter, and avocado oil with the herbs. And to do this, we will place the herbs into the top of a double boiler, or if we're using a makeshift double boiler, then put them in your canning jar or your heavy-duty Pyrex glass measuring cup. So basically, all of the ingredients except the beeswax, and if you're using essential oil, you will not put that in right now either, but everything else will go into the top of a double boiler or your makeshift double boiler now. Place your measuring cup into a heavy pot and pour the water in so it just comes an inch or two up the sides of the measuring cup. Be very careful when you pour the water in that none gets into your measuring cup, as you don't want to introduce water into these ingredients. If that's at all an issue, just pour the water in first before you put your measuring cup. And then put it on your stovetop and turn it to medium-low. Warm until the coconut oil and cocoa butter have melted. And you will need to stay very close by in case the water in the pot does boil out or evaporate, because that will cause your herbs and everything to scorch and could be dangerous. So you'll need to stay close by in case you need to add some extra water. And this will need to be kept warm for 1 to 2 hours. So this is where, if you'd rather not stay close by, you can use the oven method, which I'll quickly show you.
If you do happen to find the water is boiling, then be sure to turn the heat down, as our goal here is just to keep everything warm so that the herbs can infuse into the oil. We don't want the water boiling. So here's a very quick look at the oven method. It's a really nice hands-off approach. All you'll need to do is exactly the same ingredients as before. Dump it all in your glass loaf pan, everything except the beeswax and essential oil. Here I'm using Kokum Butter instead of cocoa butter, but the basic idea here is that you'll preheat your oven, now only to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and once it gets to temperature, turn the oven off. This is key, turn the oven off, and then put your herbs and your butters in the oven in the loaf pan. And they will stay there for about 3 to 4 hours to infuse in that warmth that's left over in the oven. And if you happen to find that once you get your pan out, the oils or the butters have solidified, then just gently rewarm and you'll strain it out exactly as you would if you did it in a double boiler. So let's go back to our stovetop method and pick up where we left off. Once the herbs have sufficiently infused, carefully remove the pot from the stovetop. It's a great idea to put it on either a hot pad or a tea towel that is folded over just to protect any surfaces. Remove the jar from the pot and get ready to strain out the herbs. Strain the herbs through a fine mesh sieve lined with cheesecloth and press it out with the back of the spoon just to be sure to get as much oil out as you can. You can even let it drip out just for a few minutes. But eventually you're going to have to get your hands dirty and gather up that cheesecloth and squeeze as tight as you can to get out every last drop of goodness. That infused oil is gold and you definitely don't want it to go to waste. Once you've got as much oil as you can, then discard the herbs. Place the beeswax and the infused oil that you just strained out into your double boiler or makeshift double boiler. Rewarm it until the beeswax melts completely. Then remove from the heat. Stir in any essential oils that you're using after you've let it cool briefly, and then pour into molds. If you're using any kind of silicone mold, I highly encourage you to put it on a cookie sheet or in some kind of tray with sides that would catch any drips that might come out while you're transporting it. Now, once you've poured these into the molds, you can let them cool on the countertop, but if you need them in a hurry, put them in the freezer. They'll only take about 30 minutes. And then when they're all the way set, remove them from the molds and you have a lovely lotion bar. To use your lotion bar, gently rub it on your skin. The heat from your body will melt that lotion bar ever so slightly, just enough so that you can rub it into your skin and stay moisturized. Don't forget that you can also pour this into a lotion bar tube, which makes it great for keeping in your purse and traveling around. It's wonderful in backpacks, on hiking trips, things like that. You could also put your lotion bar into a metal tin, and you even have the option of just transporting it in a little zip top bag.